Hello and welcome to the next in my series on Final Cut Pro, Final Cut videos, tuition, how-tos, call it what you will. Um, so what have I got here? So here I've got this is a simple, say simple. This is a video I took a couple of years ago, and this is a model called Artemis Fauna. I will link her in the comments below. She's an amazing British model, and we took this video. This is part, obviously, of a much wider set, and this is just some. This is part of, I suppose, a sort of fetishy style video that we did. And actually, I kind of quite like it. The light's pretty nice. I like the sort of depth of field effect. This particular segment is meant to be kind of all blurry and stuff, so it's quite stylized. So I do like it, but this is to show there's a lot of talk about color grading, so you'll hear that word quite a lot. And really, by color grading, all that people really mean is just coloring recoloring an image, and there's lots of plugins and there's all sorts of tutorials and a whole bunch of stuff online that people explain about color grading, but I'm just going to show you how you can just do it really quickly, really easily, using the built-in tools within Final Cut. And what we're going to use over here under the effects panel, and if you don't have it on, it's this little button here, that's your effects. And there's a whole bunch of built-in video and audio effects, and I've got some extra plugins here. But you'll find this one. You'll find color board here. And what I want to do on this, looking at this video, I quite like it, but I want to change the contrast. I actually want to change the color of this to actually give this a bit of a cooler look. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take the color board, and I'm just going to drag that and drop that across onto my clip. Now what you'll see over here now in the inspector window, and if I just undo it, you'll see when I add it on again, you will see that now pops up as a sort of selectable item, and I can click it on and off, much like layers in Photoshop. I can click all of these things on and off as I want to, really. Now, what you will often find is you need to make sure that the clip you're working on, I've only got one clip at the moment, but the clip you're working on is always selected, and obviously you'll see that by being boxed in yellow, and that means that I can actually, I'm making sure that I'm acting on the correct clip. So, this is still my clip. I've got the color board overlaid to it, but now I actually need to be able to do some stuff. So I'm going to find a clip that I think kind of summarizes. It's going to give me the best feel. So maybe I might go back to the beginning. Maybe something like here. Yeah, let's go. Let's go about here, because what I want to try and apply. I want to apply this so it looks kind of consistent across across my whole finished movie. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click, and again, if you look up here, I'm going to double click on the little color icon, and that's going to open up my my color board selection tool. And I've got a few things I can do on here, and if you just scroll down here, each one of these controls does something different. I've got a master slider, which is this one, and then I've got shadows, midtones, and highlights, and that's the way that all of these are arranged. And they're obviously got percentages applied, and we're at flat, so everything is at 0 at the moment. And at the moment, by default, it goes to exposure, but I've also got saturation I can play with and color I can play with. But the first thing I want to do is I just want to fix the contrast a bit. So what I'm going to do is, and the way I did this originally was just by trial and error. It's just by starting to play around with these. So I actually want to drop I'm going to drop my shadows down slightly. Midtones I'm going to bring down a bit. And in fact, I might just boost the highlights just a little bit. And again, if I click this on or off, I can just see a really simple difference between the two. And immediately, to me, that just looks infinitely better than what was straight out of camera. Now, the other thing I want to do, I'm not going to mess with saturation, but I want to give this a slightly cooler feel. So again, I'm going to now click into the color box, and again I've got the same thing. It's automatically selected highlights because that's what I had selected before, but I'm going to go to master, or again I could just click the circle. So again, if that was on highlights, I can just click on the master circle, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this around, and you'll see as I drag this around, you'll see the changing colors that you get. And this is obviously infinitely selectable. So I want to give it a slightly bluer feel. So I'm going to come down here, maybe slightly less, and we're going to go for one of those. Now again, if I wanted to change, for example, the shadow color, maybe give that a bit of a redder feel, for example. Maybe I want to give the skin a bit more natural feel. I can do that, and again, I can do that with all of these. If I'm making mistakes on these, I could just reset these back to 0. I could just do a Command Z on my MacBook just to undo that last command. And again, just to turn it on and off. There we go. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that on, and that is my first color grade done. Of course, we can get into a lot more detail, and I will do using some of the tools and plugins that I've got. But just to give you a really quick and simple look to your video, that will 100% will do the job. So that's great. Thank you for listening to my rambling and for watching this. If you've got any questions, please pop those in the comments. If there's stuff particularly you would like to see in Final Cut, please do let me know, and I can base my future videos on those. And of course, subscribe and just make sure you follow all my other social media stuff. But that's great. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time, and stay safe.